How are we doing? Good morning. Yeah, we are gathering here today for an interesting topic, understanding diabetes. We all know that diabetes is now becoming more and more epidemic. There are more and more people suffering from it, and it will be important for us to understand how it works, how it comes around, and what we can do about it. Okay, let's start it on that. Okay, diabetes. As of 2014, an estimated 387 million people have diabetes worldwide, with type 2 making up about 90% of the cases, and this represents 8.3% of the adult population. And there are 592 million by 2035. There will be a lot more people suffering from this condition in the near future. And the global economic cost of diabetes in 2014 was estimated to be $612 billion US. How about that? That's a lot of money spent on treating this one. Let's get some basic understanding of what these are about. So we have three types of main diabetes. The first one is type 1. Type 1 is basically it's a non-functional pancreas, insulin dependent, and a lot of times it's called juvenile diabetes because a lot of kids that are born with it, or they come to this world with a weaker pancreas or weaker system that allow that to happen. So we call it juvenile. And the second one is more of a lifestyle condition that's developed over the lifestyle, the eating habits, and the environment, and all of those factors come into play when we talk about type 2, which is more like insulin resistance and insensitivity of the cells to insulin, and a reduced insulin production by the pancreas. So all of these conditions can play a role in how we acquire type 2 diabetes. And number 3 is gestational diabetes, which relates to pregnancy. So pregnant women tend to get that. And then some other types that are much less. So we'll focus on the first 3 types. Causes of diabetes. So we're talking about type 1, that's more like genetic virus, destruction of beta cells in the Langerhans in the pancreas. So in that case, it's harder and more difficult to deal with, and take longer and take more systematic treatment. While type 2 is more of a lifestyle, food, overweight, lack of exercise. And gestational is more acquired during pregnancy, and 10% of the pregnant women get it. About 2 to 5 of the 10% pregnant women will continue to have it after pregnancy. So the main symptoms of diabetes, there's type 1 and type 2, they are a little bit different, but they tend to have some of these or most of these. There could be weight loss, weight gain. There's the central nervous system that would allow this called polydyspear, polyphagia. That's more like drinking a lot, eating a lot, and feeling drowsy and sleepy, and all of those. And then the eyes could have blurred vision, and breath you can smell acetone, and then there's all of these. Urine, polyuria, that means a lot of urine. So all of these are symptoms of diabetes. And complications and the symptoms of diabetes. Let's say when we acquire or when we get diabetes, we tend to have them for a long time or for the rest of your life, depending on what you do. Some people are able to stop it in the pre-diabetic condition. You can do exercise, you can use your food, and you can have a very disciplined lifestyle so that you will control that for a long time or even forever. It's possible to do that, but sometimes we tend to let it progress. As we get older, our system gets weaker and get older, and then usually let's say the kidney, the liver, they get weaker and weaker, and then the diabetic condition continues to climb up. And that's when we have to take, let's say, medication. So we can add, let's say, some medication like, what do you know about medication? How many, can you name some medication that you were taking? Anybody? What kind of medication you are taking for diabetes? Metformin, what else? Anything else? There could be diamicron. There are other different types of medication that we use to control. Some of them are supposed to make us be more acceptable to insulin, and some of them are supposed to help the body to cope with it. But it's very hard to get rid of the whole thing. So all these are the symptoms and complications. You could have poor circulation, then we tend to get skin ulcer, and sometimes it can climb up from our feet up to the leg and into our body. Then we get a foot ulcer. In the worst cases, we have to do amputation in serious cases. And then because of the deterioration of the blood circulation, blood flow in our body, then we tend to have cardiovascular disease. Like 50% of the heart attack patients have diabetes. So when we have this, when we have diabetes, we tend to have more sticky blood. So the sugar tend to get into the bloodstream, and then it messes up the blood, so the blood becomes stickier, thicker, so the circulation slows down, and then we accumulate those in our blood vessels. So our blood vessels become thicker, harder, so that's how we can get a higher blood pressure, we can get poor circulation, and eventually it'll lead to heart attack. And that's why 50% of heart attack patients have diabetes. And eye damage, it could lead up to blind eyes. So blurred vision, it starts from blurred vision, loss of eyesight, and then we have all these polyuria, that means loss of urine, and polyphagia and polydysphagia. So we have thirst and then hunger, excessive. And then at the same time, we also weaken our kidney. When we have this, our kidney starts to suffer, and our liver could also start to deteriorate, and then the body gets into a vicious cycle from bad to worse. Now, treatment of diabetes. A lot of times, especially when we are still in the pre-diabetes condition, we can use exercise, healthy diet, and to detox the liver and strengthen the liver and kidney. We can do all of that together to avoid getting into the second stage or later stage of diabetes. And that way, we can also you can also improve the brain health to improve the diabetic condition, because the brain plays also an important role in controlling this condition. The brain works with the pancreas, with the liver, with the kidney. They will guide the body to do a better job. So if you lose your brain power, you also develop more serious condition in this. And then with the medication, we were talking about metformin and diamicron, different medication. And eventually, if none of these work, then we have to use the higher level. What do you do when all of these doesn't work? Insulin. So insulin, you can start from 10 units to 20, 25 units. The higher, the more you go, and then by that time, then more damage will be done to our body, because most of these medication will give you some burden on the kidney, the liver to detoxify your body, and eventually when the body is too tired of doing all that, then it will start to have more difficulty. And then there is also a different way, which is the natural supplements. And by doing it naturally, then you will have to improve your body using food or herbal remedies. Okay, if we want to get a better understanding of diabetes, we have to understand how the body works. Let's say when we have diabetes, we have to understand how these 5 elements plays a role in our body system. Do we have some idea about these 5 elements in the body? Okay, who has learned some information about these 5 elements? No? Okay, let's start from the basic. So in our body, we have 5 major organ systems. One of them is called the kidney, and kidney regulates water in our body. When we say kidney regulates water, kidney works together with the spleen and with the lungs to regulate water, but kidney plays a key role. Let's say if somebody has a water regulation issue, so if somebody goes to the toilet in the night, let's say get up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom too often, 5 times, 3 times, 1 time, if you can sleep right through the night, that means you have a functional kidney system. If you get up a few times in the night, that means your kidney is getting weaker. So that way, and also when we have water issue in our body, which is a kidney function, so we tend to have, let's say, a edema, a swollen feet. When you see somebody has a swollen feet, it means their kidney is not doing so good. And the water retention in the body usually creeps up from the feet up. When the water starts from the feet, and then it climb up to your leg and to the thigh and to the body. By the time we reach your chest area, then the body is basically done. We can't function anymore, especially when the water retention comes to our lungs. We are jammed up with water retention in our organs, and then the body doesn't function anymore, then we pass away. So that's how important it is for the kidney to be working. That way it will regulate the water in our body, so we have a functional body, everything working properly. Otherwise you will have difficulty. Now, when the kidney is not doing its right job, then all of these symptoms can appear. So when your kidney is weaker, what happens in our body that do you know what happens when you have a weaker kidney? You have some experience with that? Okay, when your kidney is weaker, you tend to, we talked about 2 things. A lot of urine, water retention in the body, and then you can also, let's say you lose your hair. When we lose our hair, if you see somebody has lost their hair, then you will think, okay, they have a kidney weakness. Let's say we call the hair, it's a flower of the kidney. When you have a beautiful hair, you have a good kidney that's working, so you have lots of hair, and that means your kidney is working well. And if you have premature white hair, that symbolizes the same thing. So it's a kidney that's working properly. There could be other reasons for that, but typically it's a kidney. So if you want to grow your hair back, then it's a good idea to start strengthening your kidney. It's not necessarily you use a shampoo or something that can, that would be more like a symptomatic. But it's better if you can strengthen your kidney, then it will work. And then if your kidney is weaker, you could get, if you complain about a lower back pain or a knee pain, or this weakness or soreness, they actually also symbolize a kidney weakness. It's not just a sore back. It's not your back. It's actually a kidney that's suffering, and it's causing that problem. You can also have sexual dysfunctions, ED, and you could have fatigue. You could have lots of dreams. All of these are as indication of the kidney not working properly. And the kidney is also supposed to filter your blood. So if you have a weaker kidney, then you tend to have a lower quality of blood. So let's say the kidney is working properly, then you provide the body with healthy water. We have healthy water in the body, then you will start moving the energy to supply the liver, which is wood. Wood would be water supply the wood. The wood is like representing plants, trees, and lawns, grass, all of that. So let's say you water the lawn grows well. If you have enough water for the trees to grow, then the trees will grow big and strong and all that. But at the same time, you don't want the water to be too much. When you have too much water, it'll flood the body, it'll kill everything too. So like flooding everything, it'll destroy everything too. So you just want enough healthy water to be there. That's why we need everything to be in balance, in good balance. So when you have the woods grow well and healthy, then that's like kidney water supports the liver wood. So kidney support liver in that way. By the time the liver grows well or it's flourishing, it's doing well, then you can cut that down, and that's more like firewood. So you cut them down, they will be able to feed the hard fire. The hard fire is like kidney supports the liver, kidney and liver together support the heart. So if you cut down the firewood, then it'll go to the heart fire, it'll supply the heart with lots of fuel, lots of energy to burn, so that it'll have a strong heart. On the other hand, if we have a weaker kidney, weaker liver, then we don't have it to supply the heart, then we have a weaker heart. In that case, we will not be able to have a strong heart. By that time, our circulation is down. Then in this situation, you will typically have a lower yang energy, and you have a weaker body in the sense that you have a colder body. So if you have somebody feeling cold hands all the time, or your cold body, you need to put on more clothes than other people, then that's a kidney yang energy, and that's the heart is not doing so great. So you will have to strengthen them to improve on that. So if you typically hear somebody saying their hands and feet are cold and they easily catch a cold, they always need to put on more clothes than other people, then these organs are not doing so great. Well, when we go to see, let's say when we go to the hospital and we check everything out, there's a lot of work might say, oh, you're doing fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. But then at the same time, you still feel here and there lots of problems, or we call the sub-health problems. That's because these systems are not working optimally. Let's say when you have the wood, feed the fire burn down the trees, the grass, and then when you see the farmers burn the field with like the stems, you burn them down, they create ashes, which become fertile land. So it provides next one, which is your earth, stomach, spleen. That's the next element. So hard fire, stomach, spleen, it's earth, so when you burn them down, then you have the stomach, earth doing well, then you will help the stomach to be able to absorb the nutrition, absorb the vitamins, minerals, and all of that. That will create, next one will be the metal. Metal is our lungs, our breathing system, the lungs, and which represents metal. Metal could be like precious stuff in our body. That's the nutrition. Nutrition in our body, that could be vitamins, minerals, amino acid, and all of that. So if you hear somebody saying, oh, I am deficient in iron, I'm low in iron, I'm low in potassium, I'm low in this and that, you need to supplement this, supplement that, that's usually because the stomach's not working properly. You don't get your nutrition from your food, and the process is being interrupted. So you are deficient here, deficient there. But if you don't know how to supplement them properly, sometimes you can overdose yourself, and you don't know exactly what your body needs. So if you are interrupted in this one, then you tend to have more and more difficulty. You try to supplement, and then you overdo something, and you throw your body off balance in that way too. So you have to know exactly how your body needs. But the most important thing would be to help this system to work again. If you are able to make this system work again, you would need less and less and less supplements. you actually have a much functional, healthy body, so you don't need to resort to go into the health food stores and buy a lot of different things. That way, you will have actually a much healthier body. So the precious metal comes back to the kidney water, in the sense that the metal is, let's say you boil the gold, it become a liquid, right? The gold become a liquid. You can pour the gold and make it into a useful diamond ring or something. Same thing with all these. So all the nutrition and the precious nutrition from the stomach, from the food, you eventually are able to you can only use them if you are able to dissolve them. Using, let's say, the hot fire is the one that can dissolve them, make them absorbable by the body. So the body will be able to use them in the cycle. So now you can put them, when you have a strong heart, strong liver, and all of that, they work together, they put all the nutrition back into your bloodstream, and that's how this whole cycle starts again. So if you can keep this cycle going, you have a healthy body, you are supposed to live to 120 to 150 years old. How about that? And that's only when we are able to make the five elements work together. As I said, if you have weaker this, weaker that, then all the link is broken. It's like when you have a bicycle chain, if you lubricate them, you use them, you lubricate them, you well maintain them, the bicycle you can run marathon with. You can go to a France Tour de France. So you can do that running with the cycle, and then you can use them for many years. However, if you put this bicycle in your backyard and you don't cover it with some good protection, and it gets the snow and the ice and everything gets into it, it can collapse the next year. Next spring you won't be able to use it. It will break on you. And that's how our body works. If you put them in the backyard without protection, they will collapse next year. That's how people get cancer, they die of this, die of that, die of all kinds of things, is because this system is not working. Now let's come back to what diabetes has to do with this. Let's say when we eat our food, when we eat any food you eat, you can convert them into the body. When you eat the food comes into our mouth, it goes down the asparagus, eventually go to stomach. Our stomach is supposed to be able to process the food, and the junk, the whatever, actually not necessarily all garbage, but the fiber and all of those junky garbage is supposed to pass through the colon and then go out of the body, and then we get the biggest and easiest detoxification is of our movement. So if we're able to get rid of those the things that the body doesn't need, then we have a free flow of detoxification. Then we are in good shape. So if we get constipated, then the toxins will go back to our bloodstream and hamper us in that way. So the stomach is supposed to process them. The junk, the garbage will go out that way, and then the rest of it, the garbage like a water, it'll go in the urine. But the good precious stuff, the nutrition, is supposed to stay in our body in the bloodstream. So that's when we get this glucose. The glucose is supposed to, when we digest the food, and the spleen and the stomach, the liver, they all work together to break them down into glucose. So glucose, that's how we measure our glucose level, sugar level. That's our sugar level in our blood. When the sugar level goes up, when we eat, the sugar level goes up. So when you go up, if you have a healthy body, if all of this system is working, then the pancreas would produce insulin to give a signal for the glucose to go into the cells, and the cells would burn them up, use them as calories, so we have energy. So you can run marathon with it. You can play tennis for a few hours. So that's a healthy situation. And when you are healthy, you eat, your sugar level goes up, and then immediately the liver would come into play. The liver would absorb the excessive glucose in the body into liver, and stay in the liver in the form of storage form of glucose. We call them glycogen. It will stay in our liver until our sugar level in the bloodstream lowers down to make us feel hungry, and that way the pancreas will produce a different thing called glucagon that would trigger the liver to release those glycogen back into the bloodstream. So we keep a constant supply of glucose in our blood. That's how we have energy to run the whole day around without collapsing, without drowsiness and all that. So that's how our body regulates the sugar level in our body. So that process is usually hampered. So when we have diabetes problem, we seldom think about liver. A lot of people, we always think about pancreas that produce insulin. However, actually the liver plays almost 80% of the role. So if you have a fatty liver, a cyst in the liver, and junk and garbage and toxins and cholesterol in the liver, then the liver is taken up 10%, 20%, some people 30, 40% is taken up. And the liver room for storage becomes less and less and less. That's how we come into have difficulty with diabetes, because our liver doesn't have enough room to hold anything. So when we eat food, the sugar level shoots up because you have nowhere to go. And in that case, you have to use medication to press it down, and then if it doesn't work, then you have to resort to insulin. And insulin will press you down until you are normal. But because you don't have any storage in the backyard in the liver, then when your sugar level goes down to normal, then pretty much right away it'll drop down to too low. So if your sugar level becomes lower than 5, then 4, even 3, then you might become too low and you feel uncomfortable. In that case, you will rush to eat a lot. You eat the next meal. So that's why when we have diabetes, we have to eat multiple meals, small meals, multiple meals, because our sugar level goes up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. That's why sometimes we have to measure our sugar level 3, 4, 5 times a day. But for healthy people, because they have this storage and regulation in the body, they don't have to depend on insulin or medication to work. And so that's why when the system is working properly, then you don't have to be dependent on those. And this is how it works. So what we need to do about it is how to improve these 5 elements in our body, how they work together. So we'll come back to, we mentioned that, so the kidney and liver plays a very, very important role in regulating sugar level in our body. So in order to avoid getting into this high sugar problem in our body, these are the kind of things that we can resort to on a daily basis. So we can, who has tasted bitter melon? Yes. So bitter melon is one of the top food in helping with regulating your sugar, and that's you would not have too much of it. It's a special taste, but once you get used to it, you will love it. It will be very, very good for your sugar level in the body. And then you have onions, garlic. They all help to regulate blood sugar and cholesterol, and it helps with the allergies. They act as a very good antioxidant, and also there's a lot of vitamin C in it. And the other leafy greens, they, especially like kale. Who has eaten kale? That's good. Continue taking that. Continue eating that. They will be the top. They give you fiber. They give you control of sugar and all that. They will really. They don't affect your glucose. It doesn't raise your glucose. So it helps you to feel full, but it will not give you sugar level. And the fatty seeds. So we do have some healthy fat that we can take, we can eat, that will help our body. So not all fat are bad. A lot of fat are actually very, very healthy. You can eat fat, but just you have to eat the right amount or right kinds of fat. So flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, alfalfa seeds, they don't have any glycemic load. And even avocado, there's a lot of vitamin A, C, K, E, vitamin 6, and fatty acid in it. And then the beans. So these are the, there are more foods that we can talk about. Coconut, flakes and oil, everything to do with the coconut, they are good. Nuts, you can have the peanuts, if you're not allergic to it. Then there's walnuts, almonds, hazelnuts, all of these are good fat for the body. And then there's herbs, cilantro, basil, oregano, and even eggs. Eggs is actually, we don't have to be so afraid of eggs. They give you the protein, nutrition. You just don't eat too much of it. You take 1 or 2 eggs a day, that'll be really, really healthy for you. Because an egg can create a life, right? There is life in an egg. So there's a lot of nutrition in the egg. You can take 1 or 2 a day every single day, and you wouldn't have too much problem. And then then we can even have some butter and cheese, not too much again. It's there's some fat in there, that's okay. And then there's oils. We have hemp oil, coconut oil, flaxseed oil, and now in terms of this diet ratio, we want to limit our carbohydrate to be low. Because our carbohydrate jump our glucose level, sugar level to really high and fast. So you want to avoid too much of it. You want to control that portion into just 5 to 10%. So we don't eat carbohydrate. That's our major meal. We eat a lot. You can eat some protein. That could be amount to 25% in your diet. And then the healthy fat, you can take as much as 50 to 80%. That will really slow down the glucose level in your body, but it will still provide you with a lot of energy, because fat and all of this, they break down slower, it lasts longer in your body, so you maintain a higher level of energy in the body by taking them, and they don't necessarily make you gain weight. They are healthy fat. So we can concentrate more on the healthy fat while control the intake of carbohydrates. This is a herbal formula. So if you don't have a successful way of managing your sugar and all that with the food you eat, with the exercise, with medication, then the last result or the good result would be a supplement. A supplement that would be concentrated, that would be well grouped together, so that you provide different support for the 5 elements all together. So you have, let's say in this particular formula, there are 13 kinds of herbs that would be tonifying the qi, the energy, tonify the spleen and pancreas, spleen, pancreas, and kidney, and liver, stomach, kidney, liver, and stomach. All of these together, they have different herbs. They target the 5 elements all together. So when your body, especially the glucose level, the major 4 organs that's involved in the sugar production and regulation of the body is the kidney, the liver, the pancreas, and spleen. These are the major organs that need to be tonified, strengthened, and then work together. When they work together, you will not have sugar problems. And so when you use all these are more like shortcuts. They give you higher and concentrated dosage, and then you will be able to regulate and eventually repair, because you will want to strengthen your organs so that these organs start working again, then you don't need to worry too much about it. You can actually, once these organs are getting stronger and healthy and all of that, then you can go back to eat more variety of food. You will be able to handle food better. You will not have to be so careful about how much you eat this and that. By the time you have a stronger body, you will be able to handle different food better, and you will enjoy a more healthy life. That will give us the energy and give us the edge in helping our body with a better life. That would also give us more hope for the future. When we have diabetes, we tend to be worried. What's going to happen 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? What's going to happen to our skin? What's going to happen to our eyes? What's going to happen to our heart? And all of that. By using some food, some herbs, some herbal remedies, then you will be able to regain your confidence in life. You will live a longer, happier life. You will not have to suffer depression, anxiety that comes with it. I wish you all the best. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you. So if you need any information on this formula, we are at 102, booth 102. We have it right there. And now I'm ready for any questions you have. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, you can do that.
She can take the formula.
Yes, she can.